This program is rated PG. It contains themes and scenes which may not be suitable for very young audiences. Parental guidance is advised.
Be advised that the views and opinions of the hosts and guests do not reflect those of the station.
Democracy, rule of law, and social market economy. This is what the Konrad Adenauer Stiftung has been committed to for the past 50 years. To achieve its aims, KAS has over 600 people working in 120 countries. Following the footsteps of Konrad Adenauer, KAS engages in fostering peace and freedom in Germany, Europe, and the world.
Die Konrad Adenauer Stiftung ergänzt die Außenpolitik und die Entwicklungszusammenarbeit der Bundesrepublik Deutschland. Sie trägt mit ihren Projekten, die wir weltweit durchführen, zu mehr Sicherheit, zu mehr Frieden und zu mehr Entwicklung bei.
Some projects of the Konrad Adenauer Stiftung include the continued development of the rule of law through the support of appropriate policy reforms in Latin America, the support of the creation of an Institute for Social Market Economy in Ghana, the organization of conferences on foreign and security policy in Brussels, or the coordination of the Asia News Network in Singapore. On the 1st of July 1962, the Konrad Adenauer Stiftung initiated its cooperation with countries in Latin America, Africa, and Asia. KAS's work has developed constantly throughout the years, from projects promoting cooperatives to high-level political dialogue. In the late 70s, the Konrad Adenauer Stiftung opened offices in the United States and in Western Europe.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Global Village. I'm your host, Buddy Kunanan. Now, in this show, we take you around the world, and we also focus on issues and topics that impact the global community, especially those with bearing on the Philippines. Now, tonight, folks, you're going to learn about a foundation here in the Philippines that's been operating here since 1964. It's called the Konrad Adenauer Stiftung, or affectionately referred to by its acronym CAS, by its stakeholders, friends, and partners in the Philippines. And joining us to talk about CAS is no other than the country representative of the foundation, Mr. Benedict Zeman. Benedict, welcome to Global Village.
Thanks for inviting me. Happy to be here.
Pleasure to have you here, actually, Benedict, because you know, CAS is something that's been doing a lot of good work here in the Philippines for so many years. As I said, you guys have been here for decades, and I really want to share this with the Filipino viewers and to inform them about what CAS has been doing all this time. No, let's talk about first you briefly. Introduction. Tell us about yourself.
Well, I'm Benedict Zeman. I'm the current country representative of the Konrad Adenauer Stiftung Philippines office. I've been working here and heading our various projects for 3 years now. Before that, I was actually working at the German Parliament, so I'm a political scientist by training, so basically all my professional life I've been working in politics and political reform, and I'm very happy to be able to, to work with partners in that field here in the Philippines now. So that's how I got here and got started on those projects.
Excellent. Is this your first time to be posted overseas?
It's my first time for CAS to be overseas since I only joined them 4 years ago. I've actually been to the Philippines before I worked for CAS, so I'm really privileged to be posted in a country that I had known before already, and
very good.
That I had the chance to fall in love with beforehand. Yeah.
Very good. And how do you find our country so far? What is it like? I mean, describe the experience of working here with your partners in this country, given it's a very exciting, energized atmosphere, I assume.
Yeah. Well, as a person, I love being here and living here. needless to say, but also as a practitioner and a professional in terms of political development and political cooperation. I'm incredibly happy to be here, since the Philippines is a country that has an incredibly vibrant civil society. The dynamics of politics are, well, if I say exciting, I don't even get close.
It's an understatement.
And, but it's also, you know, referred to as Asia's oldest democracy. So for us, coming from a background that we are a German political foundation, we find it very easy here to work with partners based on values of democracy, freedom, and self-determination, and of people, and participation in politics. So that is a privileged situation for us to be working here, and that's why we've been here as a foundation for 53 years already.
Amazing, amazing.
So we love being here, and we're committed to partner with the Philippines, with civil society, with governments, with the academe, and I can only say, working as a foreign institution here, you're so welcome and you're so appreciated by all kinds of actors. So we're definitely not suffering here, we're not being isolated, and also as on a personal level for me and my wife, we feel also warmly welcomed by the Filipinos in general. So
glad to know that you guys are having a lot of success here in the Philippines. Let's talk about CAS as a foundation. Tell us a bit about it. I mean, what is its mission and vision, and maybe a brief history of the Stiftung?
Well, we're kind of a specific political creature. After the, well, incredibly shocking period of the Second World War, Germany was in ruins. So, and we saw that a way to sustain democracy and peace in Germany and in Europe is to invest a lot in civic education, in citizens' education, and political education, in the promotion of democracy in Germany, but also in Europe and abroad. Because a democratic world is a peaceful world. Yeah? So in Germany there were, or there have been several so-called political foundations that are each, so to speak, the sibling of one of the major political parties. So we come from different programmatic points of views, from different ideologies, be it Christian Democrats, the Greens, the Social Democrats, Liberals, whatever. We're trying to create a free and pluralistic democratic society. We've been doing that in Germany, but we've been also doing that abroad.
Yes.
We do not go abroad with our offices to be political missionaries and spread the word of democracy, lecturing from a moral high ground.
Yes.
We're working in countries where our work is appreciated as reform partners. So in some cases that is in other countries in local governance, in media work, the freedom of the press, in other countries like in the Philippines that is in ongoing peace processes.
Yes.
That's one of our focus areas here in the Philippines, the Bangsamoro peace process. But we also support generally good local governance, integrity, promotion, meaning fighting corruption. We support local self-determination, meaningful self-governance and local governance, but also socioeconomic reforms in a broader sense. But wherever we are and whenever we do something, we do it in partnership with local authorities, local civil society organizations, NGOs, political movements, partners from the worlds of universities. So we cater to the needs of the countries where we have our offices.
So it's really specific. Each country, you have a specific focus depending on the needs and the challenges being faced by each country. Now, all of these, I assume, are rooted in the core ideology of CAS. And as we know, CAS is, by its name, Konrad Adenauer Stiftung, named after the first chancellor of post-war Germany, it's affiliated and partnered with the Christian
Democratic Union.
CDU, the Christian Democratic Union. So would you say that all your objectives here are really rooted in your core ideologies as a party?
Unlike other global development corporations that are strictly on the technical side, we come from a political value-based approach. meaning that, as I said, we're not missionaries trying to impose our values on other people, but what we do and where we work is always clearly based on the foundations of what we call Christian democracy. Traditionally, that's the name. That doesn't mean, although
let's define it. Let's define Christian democracy.
That's
it's a big
the
question.
challenge, right? Yeah.
It's a huge question.
Christian democracy is not necessarily something that is comes with a religious component. For instance, nowadays in many countries, people don't refer to it anymore as Christian democracy, but centrist democracy, because also in Germany we have a large part of the population that is Muslim, actually. So the surprising news is the Christian Democratic Union of Germany, as Germany's biggest political party, also has the highest amount of all parties of Muslim members. So
really?
that's because
it's interesting. Yeah?
Because we're looking for common denominators in our values that define the worth of human dignity. It all comes down to the point of that we believe in the human being to be able to live a dignified life. Yeah, that's what all the reforms relate to that we're working on. So Christian democracy or centrist democracy as that point of view or political ideology, so to speak, means that the human being is in the center of things. We're not extremist to the left, to the right. We're not super market liberal. We're not super conservative. We're not communist. We're just the party of the people, so to speak. Yes, in the center of things.
Yes.
And a party for everyone. And that translates that the German Christian Democratic Union is what they call a people's party. People's party not in the communist sense, but in the sense that it's for the masses. Yeah? So we do not represent any kind of extreme or religious approach. We want to capacitate and empower the human being in society. That's where we come from. We believe in freedom, we believe also in human rights and in human dignity and self-determination, and we believe that civil society, local governments, national governments and other actors work jointly on things in a bottom-up approach. So that's what we believe in firmly. That defines our political thinking.
Hence your activities in the Philippines. You're involved in the peace process, in issues like federalism, in human rights, as you said, press freedom and things like this. So all issues that, as you said correctly, really are about human dignity and the person and about really things that are important to the people and moving society forward.
Yeah.
Now, interesting enough, your foundation, CAS, is a quasi-government foundation. No? Because apparently, I mean, I've read it somewhere that you derive most of your funding from the German government.
That's correct.
And that tell us about, a little bit about this setup, because I mean, it's a setup that is not too common in other countries. That a government will support a political party's foundation.
Yeah, that is indeed more or less unique setup. As a foundation, we're independent. Also, we do not have to take orders from the government. We're not a pseudo embassy, so to speak. But on the other hand side, the German government provides us, or precisely the parliament actually, provides us with funds to promote democracy in Germany and in the countries where we are active with our projects and offices. That means it also comes from the background of the atrocities of the Second World War and what happened. It means that democracy is a common good in which the state also has to invest. And the German state, and that is part of our political system, firmly believes that the state has the obligation to invest in democracy in a way that it supports also non-government actors like ourselves. Of course, we are, so to speak, related to a political party, but we implement very precise projects with the money that we get from the government. So it's not just an unconditional lump sum that we get, and the German government says, feel free to live a happy life with that. So we agree on certain fields where we can work, and that is in some countries that is the freedom of the press, in others it's minority rights, in others it's socioeconomic reforms, and we implement with government money, but we're not a government agency. We are mostly funded by the German government. Nonetheless, we also apply for third-party funding. We implement projects on behalf of the European Union. The European Union is an international actor that is very committed to peace and development all over the world.
Yes.
And they also have certain instruments and funds through which they support or actually task other organizations to implement related projects to that. So that's also what we do. So we work with taxpayers' money. So we're very diligent and careful about our work.
And it's not just the CAS that gets funding. I understand that also the foundations of the major the other major political parties, including your rival, the SDP, Social Democratic Party, also gets funding from the government. Is there ever a time when your activities with your counterpart organizations from the other political parties, is there ever a time that they overlap somehow, and that you end up actually working together in a way?
In the Philippines, we have right now 4 German foundations.
Okay.
Those are, so to speak, the counterparts of 4 German political parties, different political parties. So people think, wow, that's strange.
Complicated.
Why does the German government support 4 different foundations? It's because we all come from different programmatic and ideologic backgrounds. And that makes sense, because that is a reflection of political pluralism in Germany and in a working democracy. So when we don't agree on things and we don't have the same access points or ideologies about things, it's fine, because you're not a dissident, you're not a destabilizer. It's just political plurality and pluralism that brings about different point of views. In the case of the Philippines, as I said, we have 4 foundations here. We do meet and coordinate on a regular basis, so we don't have overlapping projects. Since we're all funded with German taxpayers' money, we really look into it that we don't create redundancies in that case. On other things, we're working together. For instance, every year for the German national holiday, we have a joint booth at the celebrations and present ourselves there. And in other projects, we're very active, and in the other foundations have their focus on different fields of cooperation. So we get along fine, and that is no problem.
It's just really a unique setup where you have a government supporting these foundations, but it's also a model that others, I think, should follow, because especially in the affluent world, where governments can afford to fund foundations like this, it's your best export. Your example, I mean, how you run things in your country that made Germany so successful.
I mean, in fairness, we also benefit from a certain reputations that Germany has abroad, and also from the reputation of the German Chancellor, Angela Merkel. So that is, of course, something we cannot influence, but we're happy to see that when we work on things that people say, you come from that side of the German Christian Democratic Union, we think of that very highly, and so we trust you with you supporting us in local governance projects and so on. So, and that's, of course, also a point that I mentioned about the pluralism, If you are, in some countries, for instance, you have socialist or rather say social democratic actors, politicians, decision makers. So that's where, of course, for instance, the Friedrich Ebert Stiftung has better access points. When they want to talk about labor law, for instance, which is a typical social democratic topic, that is where others have better access points and more experience and expertise. So, but in general, I believe it's a good thing that a national government funds political cooperation in the world, because the overall objective is to contribute to peace and development. So
definitely.
That is a thing that foundations like CAS can provide through their, I dare say, customized political approach, whereas other development corporations are very technical in nature. They build a certain number of classrooms, they build a certain number of of clinics and so on. We don't count clinics and classrooms and sanitation projects. We work on real political reforms.
Very good.
Yeah.
Derek, we have paused for a break. When we come back, Attorney Benny Bacani, the head of one of your partner foundations here in the Philippines, will join us, and we're just going to talk about how you guys are engaging each other in a very, very important and timely issue of the peace process and, of course, federalism.
Okay.
So guys, stick around because more of CAS and the Philippines when Global Village returns.